Imagine you take the same train to work every morning. You leave from the same station, on the same platform, and there you see the same people. Then one day, two people show up who you've never seen before. And unlike everyone else on the train, and almost everyone in your community, they're speaking Spanish, not English. Then they're there the next day and the day after that. You don't talk to them or interact. What happens to your politics? Could they change? For decades, this was a tough problem to solve, and then came Harvard researcher Ryan Enos. In the summer of 2012, Enos ran a field experiment on the platforms of commuter trains in the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts. He picked 9 stations in communities that were almost entirely white, with very few Hispanic people. The commuters there followed strict morning routines. Nearly 90% took the same train at the same time every single weekday. Here's what he did. First, he recruited regular commuters and paid them about $5 to take a survey. The survey measured their political opinions, their demographics, and their commutes. Then, within each station, he picked 2 trains. These trains ran close together in time. And for each pair of trains, Enos chose one randomly to be the control and the other to be the treatment. For the treatment trains, Enos sent a pair of Spanish-speaking actors to stand on the platform, not to interact with the commuters, just to be there and talk with themselves. These actors were young Mexican nationals living in the US on visas, and for a few days, they followed the same morning routine as these commuters. Sure, they were actors, but it mimicked something real, demographic change in their community. For the commuters on the control trains, nothing changed. After some time, Enos resurveyed the commuters and saw whether anything changed from the first time they were surveyed. The surveys asked 3 questions about immigration policy. The key is that with random assignment, each pair of trains had commuters that were almost identical to each other, so any difference in how they answered from before and after could be attributed to the treatment, meaning the Spanish speakers on the platform. The result was striking, and depending on your assumptions, maybe uncomfortable. People who had been exposed to the Spanish-speaking actors on the platform shifted towards exclusionary attitudes in 3 key questions. They became more likely to say that immigration levels should be decreased, more likely to say they did not want to allow undocumented workers to stay in the country even if they didn't have a criminal history, and more likely to say English should be the official language of the United States. The effects on the first 2 questions were statistically significant, the kind of result that you can't attribute just to pure chance. That means that simply sharing a train platform with 2 people who didn't look or sound like them, with no interaction, no conflict, and nothing overly threatening, made these commuters measurably more restrictive on immigration. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Enos had randomly split the participants into 2 other groups. One was surveyed after 3 days and the other was surveyed after 10 working days. And guess what? The exclusionary attitudes were stronger after only 3 days than after 10. In other words, we saw the strongest backlash after a few days of exposure, but with greater exposure, that effect softened. The actors noticed this too. Without being asked, the actors reported that commuters on the platform noticed them in the early days, and they saw that they felt uneasy. But by the end of the 2-week period, the actors said that the commuters said hello and felt a little more comfortable around them. So that's an important piece of nuance in the paper. Initial contact with people who are different may activate a sense of feeling threatened, but familiarity over time may begin to chip away at that sense of threat. So what does all of this tell us? Diversity by itself doesn't automatically produce tolerance. This contact can actually generate resistance, at least in the short term when the contact is passive and the groups are kind of unfamiliar with each other. And that can have real implications for our politics, policies, and communities. As demographics change in the US and elsewhere, liberal communities could shift to be more conservative. Not because people are inherently hostile, but because unfamiliarity might trigger a threatened response before familiarity can moderate it. The strangers on the platform didn't say a word, but they didn't have to. One of the most powerful lessons from this study is that political psychology can operate on the level of pure presence. Who we see, who we hear, who feels familiar, and who doesn't. Enos's findings aren't comfortable, but they are honest, and they're important as you go about your daily life, interacting with people in your world.